Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. This is going to be pre-recorded, so I'm making a bit of a guess here before the video is played or before the commitment is actually made. But I do believe Khalil Tate is going to be choosing the Iowa Hawkeyes, which is what this video is going to be centered around, which is the commitment of Khalil Tate when it does actually drop, when the YouTube video does drop, and when Khalil Tate does eventually decide to pick the Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm going to be diving in to his game and really just discussing this Iowa 2023 recruiting class, where it stands and what's left on the table. The class is getting pretty full, folks, and things are really starting to shore up. There's a few remaining needs here and there, but like I said, folks, things really are starting to patch up. By the time the season starts, really what you're going to have is a case of Iowa holding on to all of their recruits vis-a-vis having a good season and just staying in contact with the guys that they have committed. So, but before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys to consider hitting that subscribe button. We are rounding the corner. We are at recording of this video. We have 983 subscribers. So I really do hope you consider helping your boy get over the hump and reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. I really want to hit it by the time the season starts, so you guys can send in super chats when we do our live streams, tip money. I can get some ad revenue, things like that. So your boy would really appreciate it. I will be putting the Cash App and PayPal link in the description if you want to help your boy's coffee habit out. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, at 247 Hawkeye is the place to do that. You guys can see it in the bottom left corner here. And be sure to follow the Discord, which is the link is in the description. It's a place where we will be able to talk rather openly, especially during the football season, about the Iowa Hawkeyes. And without further ado, let's get into this. As you guys can see here, I did decide to change the mic around, just trying some different setups, things like that. But that's not what we're here for. We are here for this predicted commitment, which will, at the time of this video or the commitment, be the actual commitment. This is big time, folks. I think the most important state for Iowa to recruit outside of the state of Iowa is Illinois. It's close to Iowa. It's very similar to Iowa in a lot of ways, not exactly the same, but similar in a lot of ways. And it's one of the, I would say, top 3 or 4 Midwestern recruiting states. Currently, if I were to rate the top 5 Midwestern, it wouldn't be considered Big Ten, since the Big Ten now spans all the way to California, as well as the East Coast. But if I were to just rate the Midwestern states with their production of Division I talent when it comes to football, I would say the state of Ohio, Michigan are probably tied. They're very close to one another. And obviously, some of you guys are going to say, well, what about this state? This state's in the Midwest. Okay, all right. What I consider the Midwest: Ohio, Michigan, Illinois. I would probably put Iowa in there now. Iowa has, the last 3 years, the state of Iowa has had 10 plus, getting up into the 20s when it comes to players who sign with a Power 5 team. So that means there's 10, sometimes 20 plus in the last 3-4 years, guys out of the state of Iowa who not only have a Power 5 offer, but signed with a Power 5 school. Okay. If you look back at the state of Iowa in 2010, the state was lucky to produce 4 or 5 Power 5 level guys. Okay. So Iowa is definitely doing a lot better. Again, I would say Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, and Iowa are the top 4. Missouri, definitely, but they're in the SEC now. Missouri is definitely a great state when it comes to producing Division I talent, Power 5 level talent. I might be forgetting a state here. I don't know. But the point is, the state of Illinois, because it borders Iowa, is very important. Last year, Iowa did okay, but in the COOF recruiting year, they did miss on a few guys out of the state of Illinois that they otherwise probably would have landed in other years, but they missed for a variety of reasons. Brett Bielema going in there, he didn't do great in the state of Illinois, but he did okay. He definitely secured a few commitments. And again, Illinois, because Illinois and Northwestern's been okay, but Illinois has not been that great. And because of that, other programs have been able to come into the state and get the top talent. But here's the other thing that Iowa has been able to do, which is great. Not only has Iowa been able to go into the state of Illinois and get top talent, but they've been able to go into the state and recruit hidden gems better than Northwestern or Illinois have been able to do in their own state. In a lot of regards, the state of Illinois is recruited just as hard and scouted just as hard as Iowa's own state is. By the way, when I was rating the Midwestern states, I forgot about Indiana. When it comes to Midwest states in the Big Ten, I would say Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, and Indiana are the top 5 recruiting states. Like I said, Ohio and Michigan are probably tied at the top. Illinois is probably 3rd. Indiana and Iowa are probably tied for 4th and 5th, and it changes each year lately. So there's that. Big time. This kid, Khalil Tate, comes out of the state of Illinois, Chicago, more specifically. And if we look at Iowa's recruiting class here, that's rated 20 at the time of recording this video, but it will be rated higher after Khalil Tate commits to the Iowa Hawkeyes. You guys can see that while Iowa is big in the state of Indiana, they've also done a really good job in the state of Illinois this recruiting cycle, as they have landed commitments from John Nestor from Chicago, Illinois, and Kanan Leonard. So this will be the 3rd player that Iowa lands out of the state of Illinois. And I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa, by the end of it, lands a 4th guy out of 4th or 5th guy out of the state of Illinois by the time this recruiting cycle is done. As you guys can see here, Khalil Tate is a high 3-star. Anything above an 8650, in my opinion, is a pretty heavily recruited player and what I would consider a high 3-star, low 4-star guy. Like I said, anywhere from 0.8650, and he has a grade of an 87. Any guy who's rated 87 or above, that is a hard recruiting battle that Iowa fought in order to land that guy. And there's many folks that Iowa has in this recruiting class that are rated 87 and are right on the cusp of being a 4-star guy. And as I've said previously with other guys, I think it's totally possible that by the end of it, Khalil Tate shows out in his senior year and becomes a 4-star level guy, for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Here is his offer sheet. It came down to Iowa and Wisconsin. But because Iowa has been better, I would say, over the last 3 years in the Big Ten West than Wisconsin, even though Wisconsin has not been bad by no means. I mean, Wisconsin last year quietly won 9 games, but the other aspect is the two main reasons Iowa has been recruiting better than the state of than Wisconsin the last 2 years. Wisconsin did edge out Iowa 3 years ago in Iowa's top 25 class. Wisconsin had a top 20 class. But the reason is, number one, on-field production. Unfortunately, Wisconsin did beat Iowa last year, which sucked. But also, I've said this once, I've said it twice, and I will continue to say it. The current coaching staff that Iowa has is not only, in my opinion, one of the best coaching staffs that, as just coaches, Kirk Ferentz has had, but it is the best recruiting staff that Kirk Ferentz has had in his tenure. Khalil Tate also had offers from Purdue, Arkansas, some MACtion schools, Arkansas, Boston College, Bowling Green, Illinois, Colorado, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, and Michigan was legitimately after him. Mississippi State, Mizzou, Nebraska, Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State, Syracuse, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. Point is, he had a really nice offer sheet. Really nice offer sheet. He has great size. He's 6'2", 185 pounds, which is the type of DB that Phil Parker has been going after in recent years. Phil Parker likes guys in the 6 foot and lengthy to 6'3" range, because who can move, because when they come to Iowa, he can basically decide of all the DB positions, which one they are most suited for after teaching them up and developing them. And I think that's a wise choice. Before he would be a little bit more specific, okay, let's recruit that guy. He's a safety. Let's recruit this guy. He's a corner. Now he recruits guys that can play safety, that can play cash, that are just DBs. They're good DBs, which is why when guys leave Iowa to go to the NFL, they can play multiple positions. This is the write-up on Khalil Tate from national recruiting analyst Alan True. High school cornerback and sometimes wide receiver who projects to college safety. He played in the slot, outside, and already at safety at times, and can continue those roles as a nickel or hybrid. Little bit of a run-on sentence there. Size and versatility are two of his chief assets. Has shown he will be physical and contribute in run support. 5 INTs as a junior, and some offensive work show that he has ball skills. Patient, shows good technique and instincts. Pure straight line speed has not been verified, but can still continue to work on top end and burst, because everybody can. Seems like a safe projection to be a productive college player because of his combination of size and positional versatility. Now, I want to pull this up to show that he has some pretty good size here for a high school guy. He is pretty built. By the way, go follow me on Twitter at 247 Hawkeye. Khalil, if you want to come on the program, you can find the information in the description box. I have been offering that for all of the Iowa recruits. A lot of Iowa recruits have been retweeting the videos. This will give you instant access to a ton of Iowa fans. So feel free to come on. I guess I can turn on the sound here. Let me turn on the sound so you guys can hear his little thing here. But I'm really showing this to show you guys that he has good size. Look at his arms here. He's pretty built. Sometimes high school corners come in and they're very, very thin, very thin.
Khalil Tate out of Kenwood Academy in Chicago, Illinois, class 2023 safety. I will be announcing my commitment on Tuesday, July 12th, 10 a.m. Who will it be?
Nice.
Khalil Tate.
All right, guys. So that's it. I think that this is going to end up being one of the underrated commitments that Iowa gets in this class. I think that this guy is going to contribute for the Hawks. I think this is a great commitment. I think that this guy is smart. He goes to a pretty solid high school. By the way, his comp is Josh Jones, former Hawk. I think he is going to be solid for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I think this is a match made in heaven. Last but not least, I want to show you guys Iowa's recruiting class. The remaining needs, really just depend on a few things. Okay. One, well, let me start here. The remaining needs, Iowa could use the number one remaining need is wide receiver. Iowa is pretty much set at defensive line and offensive line. They definitely, the number one position that is of need is wide receiver. They might take another running back. The other running back that they were high on chose to go to Maryland. But of course, they might be okay with just taking one running back in this class due to him being a 4-star and a highly, highly, highly recruited running back out of high school. So they might be okay with just taking him or a very lowly rated running back that Iowa sees more as a developmental prospect that they want to give a chance to. Iowa might take one more tight end, again, a more developmental tight end, a more of a projection. But again, and I think they're going to take one or two more DBs, guys that can play both corner and safety and cash, but more geared towards corner. As it stands now, the 3 DBs that Iowa has, I would say, are more natural safeties than DBs, or excuse me, than corners, but all 3 could play corner. Definitely John Nestor and Khalil Tate can both play corner. And I think that that's where they will start out at for the Hawks, is corner. Like I said, I think Iowa is going to take one more linebacker, and I think that the top guy on the list is in-state on 3 4-star and rivals in 247 3-star Asa Newsome. He's 6'4". Of course, his brother plays defensive line, so Iowa may be seeing him more as a defensive lineman. But honestly, I don't think so, because Iowa already has 4 defensive line commits. I think they do see him as a linebacker prospect. So again, Iowa might take one more running back. They might take one more tight end. They definitely need at least one more wide receiver commitment, probably even 2. And the only other thing that it really depends on, here's Asa Newsome here. Seth Wallace is the one who's recruiting him. So I do think that they see him more as a linebacker. The only other thing it depends on is if the guy is a guy that's super under the radar, that the Iowa coaches are super high on, and it doesn't matter that they already have 4 committed or they already have a full room committed. They have to have that guy. That's the only other possibility for Iowa to take one more in a full room. Other than that, Iowa is going to be watching and seeing. They are in a phenomenal position going into the season that they will have most of their guys committed, and it's all about maintenance and keeping an eye out for the late bloomers, 1, 2, 3 late bloomers, and the decommits that inevitably happen, that Iowa always ends up getting 1 or 2 of those guys. So this class is phenomenal. I think this class may end up being as good as the 2021 recruiting class. Iowa fans, you should be stoked. This recruiting class has a 4-star quarterback. It has its quarterback. It has a 4-star wide receiver. It has a bunch of defensive linemen. It has a 5-star O lineman. It has everything. It has the tight end. It has a lot to love. This is a great recruiting class. I am so pumped about the future of Iowa, and this, you really go through this whole thing for a long time, and when you see it come together, it's really exciting. All right, guys, be sure to give me that subscribe. Help your boy out. By the way, real quick, Khalil Tate is also a 5.7 on Rivals. Just wanted to throw that in there. Give your boy a subscribe. We're so close to 1,000. We're at 983. You can be that deciding factor to help me get to 1,000. I would really appreciate it. Put the PayPal and Cash App link in the description if you want to donate to the channel. Join the Discord. And follow me on Twitter at 247 Hawkeye. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy, Willow, and facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love y'all. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.